Good morning. I'm out in my garden this morning on Sunday working on my tower garden, and I had a friend ask me if I could do a live video about the process of balancing the pH in my tower. I am not good at live videos, so I figured I'd just do a real quick video of how I balance the pH. I just filled up the reservoir tank, and every other week when I fill the tank, I also add minerals to the tank to help feed my plants. I did all of that last weekend, so all I need to do today is balance the pH. As you can see behind me, I've got lots of greens growing. I've got some peas back here. I've also got some red tomatoes on the vine, so there's quite a bit on my tower right now. I added probably 5 to 10 gallons of water today, which is not a lot. It's less than maybe a quarter to half of the tank I filled up today, and I will need to balance the pH. I like to keep my pH somewhere between 5.5 and 6 when I balance it, knowing that it will creep up throughout the week and I'll have to redo it over the weekend. If I'm noticing some issues with my plants, I may balance it again midweek, but I try to just do it once a week. My strawberries do better the lower my pH, so for the next few days I will get better strawberries than what I will see next weekend, but everything else seems to do okay even if the pH gets a little bit high. My tap water pH is about 7.5 to 8, so adding just some garden hose water means I need to adjust the pH. So not very long ago I bought just a cheap pH tester on Amazon. It was about $20, but it was well worth the 20 bucks I spent on it. It helps me get an electronic digital readout of my pH rather than using the color test strips, which I was previously using. I find that I get a slightly more accurate reading, but it's certainly easier to use, so it's really time that I'm saving more than ease. So I just turn it on and place it down into the reservoir, and I'm going to get a reading on what this reservoir is right this second. I'm probably somewhere around 7 to 7.5 right now, and I want to bring it down to about 5.5 to 6. So I'm right at 7, having added some water, and I let it sit for a few minutes. So you can see I'm like 6.9, 6.95. I'm going to take that out of there, and I'm going to do my best to kind of balance the camera on the side here while I add acid. So to balance my pH, I'm going to add acid because I need to lower the pH to 5.5 to 6. If I was trying to raise the pH, I would add a base solution. But I have here the acid for balancing from TowerGarden, and I like to use a 10cc syringe. This is just one that I happen to have. I'm a nurse and I had some laying around, so I use a 10cc syringe to add the acid. I start with larger increments, about 10 cc's, 10 mLs of acid, and the closer I get to my desired range, the less I add at a time. So I usually start with 10. So that's 10 cc's of acid into my tank, and I use just a kitchen spoon here that I have relegated to TowerGarden purposes only. I stir up the water in the reservoir. Sometimes I will turn on the tank and let it run through my system, but it's kind of noisy when the pumps are running, so I turned it off so I could make the video. I'm gonna check it again. I should find that I'm lowering my pH by about 0.25 to 0.5 with every 10 mLs. It just kind of depends on where the water is and how it's responding. But you can see I'm down to about 6.6. Can you see that? 6.6 on my thing. So I'm going to go ahead and add another 10 mLs of acid. Now I find that I have rarely had to use base in my tower garden based on my water and the plants in it. I am most frequently adding acid. The only time I've ever had to add base is when I overcorrected slightly with too much acid, but that was just a mistake on my part, and I've learned to add smaller increments at a time to avoid those kind of issues. So if I had to just have one chemical on hand, it would be the acid for my particular garden. I'm going to go ahead and test that again. And it's dropping down right now. I'm at about 6.35 on my tester. So I'm not sure if you can see that on the screen, but it did come down a little bit. Not as much as I need it to, so I'm going to go ahead and add more acid. also find that the more I stir, the more mixed up my my water basin gets, and the better, more accurate reading I get. Again, sometimes I run the pump through it to mix it even more, but today I'm just going to do it with the spoon, and I'll get decent results with that. They won't be as good as when I do it with the pump running. So I'm going to stick the pH test kit back in there, and I'm getting close to where I want to be now. I'm at 6.3, 6.1, 5.98. So I'm right around 6. It's going up and down because the water is circulating in the tank a little from the movement of the spoon. And I'm going to do just one more addition of acid. I'll probably go about maybe 5 mL this time, because it's going to get me real close to where I want to be. Stir one more time, and I should be right in my target range of 5.5 to 6. If I can get it a little closer to 5.5, that's best, because it will undoubtedly creep up in the next few days. So getting it a little closer to 5.5 is where I want to be. Right now it's about 5.72, 5.74, 5.76. So I'm really right in the middle of my target area. So 5.7, 5.67 as the water circulates. So I'm going to stop there and not add any more chemicals for today. Again, this is just an acid solution. It does nothing to add pesticides or anything like that to my tower. It's just balancing the pH of the water to give the ideal atmosphere for the plants to grow. And you can see I stuck the lid back on, but I'm going to take my syringe and rinse it in the tower. Just to get the extra acid out. I just run some water through it so that when I store it, I don't have a ton of acid in there. And that may bring my tower down just a wee little bit more, which is fine because I'm still in the target range. But it's that simple. I just spent, about 5 minutes working on this. It would have been a lot less if I weren't talking and doing it to the camera, but that is the process of adding acid to the tank to balance the pH. As you can see, I've got some beautiful things growing here. I've got tomatoes, which are looking fabulous. I've got peas growing here. You can see flowering peas and pea pods ready to be picked. I've got some down here, but I've also got some herbs. I've got lettuce. I've got kale growing. This is currently my cilantro, which is taking over in the last week or two. It's really had a resurgence of growth. It's going to be awesome. But I have arugula, and there's kale on the other side. Lots of great things that are going on in my tower garden right now. You can see beautiful peas growing. All right, that's all for now. Thanks for stopping by.